Hi, welcome back everybody. We're here to read The Skin I'm In. If it seems like I gave you a lot of reading this week, it is more chapters, but they're quite short, so that's why. Also, we're trying to finish the book because the last day to turn in work this semester is May 15th. So I'm just going to give a quick recap and get right into it. When we left off, Malika was going back and forth on whether she wanted to keep hanging out with Char, and Char was doing the same. In fact, she told her to her face that she told the twins they hang out with right in front of Malika that she was kind of done with her just as soon as she finished her history project for her. But then they all got busted for skipping class and hanging out in the bathroom by Miss Saunders, and they all got in a little bit of trouble. And it was kind of interesting that even after all of that, Malika was kind of upset that Char got in trouble for writing on the mirror with a marker. She kind of stuck up for her to Miss Saunders. So that was interesting to me because I wouldn't stick up for someone who talked about me like that, but Malika does. And so as we continue to read, I want you to just continue watching Malika and how she's changing. Think about her circumstances, especially how she writes as a Kilma. Think about her relationship with Miss Saunders, with Char, and we're about to see this new relationship as well. I'm just going to say that. If you haven't already done so, go to Google Classroom. Make sure that you look at our assignments so you know what's expected of you, and you can also follow along there. Many of you wrote to me this week, I don't have the book. Yes, you do. I put it in your Google Classroom, so find it, and then you can follow along with me. All right, let's get started. Chapter 19. Dear Diary, they took us up top today. I cried when the sun touched my face. It has been a long time since I seen it. The others, they jumped and ran and laughed like they was free. I sat down in a corner by myself. I stared at the sun, then shut my eyes tight. I wanted to hold on to the sun for as long as I can, to save up the picture for when I am below again and need to remember that the sun is always shining. I squeeze my eyes closed till I see stars. When I open them again, King Jari is there. A Kilma. The school detention room is in the basement, next to the boiler room. Damp, cramped, hot. Nothing but desks and chairs, with Miss Birdie, the detention teacher. Even when it's snowing out, you can go sleeveless in there and still be sweating. Today ain't no different. It's hot. I'm sweating, and it ain't nobody's fault but Miss Saunders. So here I am, writing in my diary, trying to see the sun. Remember, she's there for being busted by Miss Saunders for skipping class. I'm supposed to be doing English homework. Miss Saunders gave me 25 pages to read in 2 days. I don't get too far with it, though. Caleb comes into the detention room making noise. He's excusing himself all the way across the room, squeezing between desks, knocking over books. You'd think a boy that has been the president of the class and student representative on the PTA would know how to walk into a room. I'm hoping he will sit up front. No such luck. He plops down 2 seats away from me and starts talking before he's seated. Hey, he says in that low, soft voice of his. I stretch my legs out till they're even with the front legs of the chair in front of mine. What are you doing here? I ask. Mr. P put me in here, he says. I was doing the boys' bathroom. For a while, I just doodle on the edges of my paper, but I can't help asking, doing what in the boys' room? Scrubbing down the joint, he says, plain as day. You cleaned the boys' room? I'm frowning at my face. You touched the toilet and all that stuff? Caleb's shaking his head yes at every word I say. Disgusting. I suck my teeth. Miss Birdie comes over and tells us to separate. Get some more space between you, she says. 2 more seats over, Caleb, she insists. Caleb moves over, then, as soon as Miss Birdie starts grading papers again, he's back near me. I don't believe you, I whisper. Ain't nobody at this school crazy enough to clean the bathrooms, I say, and then I shut my mouth. But Caleb, he does seem crazy sometimes. He and his dad go feed the homeless on the weekends, and once a month, Caleb volunteers at the senior citizens home. Last year, he even got the school to hold a neighborhood cleanup day. Yeah, I cleaned up the boys' room, Caleb says, smiling. Got down on my hands and knees like my mama taught me. You should have asked the janitor to help. He's doing his job, Caleb says. It's the rest of us that aren't doing ours. Caleb's hands don't look like they've been in no toilets, even if he was wearing gloves. His hands are big with nice, white, straight nails, and his fingers are long and strong, and they move all over the place when he gets excited. Miss Birdie comes over and lectures us about why we're here in detention and what will happen to us if Caleb doesn't move over and shut up. For a little while, we write notes to each other. I write, "Why bother with that smelly bathroom if no one else cares about it?" Caleb writes back, "You have to take a stand when things aren't right." I look at him and wonder why he didn't take a stand last year when we was on the bus and everybody was making fun of how black I am. Instead of writing back, I open up my folder and start writing in my diary. Dear Diary, Caleb smells good. Sometimes when I'm around him, I lose my head. I forget that I am mad at him and that I promised myself I would never, ever forgive him for not coming to my defense on the bus. Those white teeth, them eyes, and that voice, they make me forget sometimes what he's done. That's why I try and keep away from him. I don't want to forget. Malika. Very interesting, guys, if you haven't noticed yet. This is the very first time she's written in the diary as Malika. Every other time it's been Akilma. Caleb looks at me for the longest time. Things can change, he says. Like things between me and you, things at the school. Don't go there, Caleb, I say. I said I was sorry, remember? Said it 10,000 times. Give a brother a break, why don't you? This ain't McDonald's, Caleb. No breaks today, I say, moving to another seat. Caleb's got about 6 books with him. He takes care of business, keeps up with homework. That's how he is. But even 2 seats over, I can smell him. He don't wear that cheap stuff that hurts your nose like some boys do. Dear Diary, should you ever forgive a boy who done you wrong? Malika. Caleb can be persistent. He moves down 2 seats. Miss Birdie, the teacher, tells us both to settle down, shut up, or be ready to spend the day in detention again tomorrow. That doesn't faze Caleb none. He keeps running off at the mouth. Why you bothering me, Caleb? I ask. I shouldn't have left you when they started teasing you, he says finally. Then he starts playing with his pencil, chewing on his lip. We both get quiet for a while. I figured if I left you, the other kids would stop messing with you. How can you think something like that, I ask. Caleb says that ever since him and me started hanging together, the kids teased me, so he figured if he got away from me, they'd stop. So why are you trying to be friends with me again now, I ask. He tells me that things are still going bad for me, even with him not around. So he figures he can't make my life no worse. Besides, he whispers, I still like you a lot. Eyes don't lie. That's what Akilma would say. So I look deep into Caleb's eyes. God, they are gorgeous, big and brown. I think about Akilma. Right now she'd probably say, Malika, forgive and forget. That's easier than dragging around anger like sacks of stone. I want to laugh at that one. Those is Mama's words. She says them when I get mad at her. I want to forgive Caleb, but I'm scared. What if I start liking him again and he does what he did before? Mama and Akilma, they could forgive him. I am not that strong at forgiving. Not yet. Caleb stares at me all dreamy like. I didn't mean it, I swear, he says. I won't ever let you down again, Caleb says softly. I nod. All right. So we're watching Malika, who has this low self-esteem and people keep teasing her. I asked you in the previous chapters to talk to me a little bit about courage and strength. And you see here, even in just this last page, Malika talks about Akilma as if she's real. She's not, let me clarify. She's a character that Malika made up. But Malika seems to really kind of idolize Akilma for her strength and look to Akilma for advice, because she does not feel strong enough to deal with the situation that she's been given. And specifically, the situation that she's been given is she's trying to evaluate this relationship with Char and Miss Saunders throughout the whole book. But in this particular chapter, it's not Char and Miss Saunders that she's dealing with, it's Caleb. Caleb is the boy who used to like her, she used to like him, but then one day people started teasing her and he didn't stick up for her, and so she kind of blames him for that. He explains to her that it's because he felt like he was the problem and he thought that leaving her alone would be best, and she's trying to decide if she's strong enough to forgive him for that. So a lot of things going on in this chapter. On Google Classroom, the couple of things that I ask you are, I ask you about Malika and Caleb's relationship and how it's affecting her, and to answer in 3 sentences. So you can talk about who is Caleb to Malika, how does she feel about him, what does she want from that relationship, and those can be your 3 sentences. You can also kind of make a prediction on how the relationship will affect the plot going forward, because an author would not put a whole chapter about Caleb into the book right here so close to the climax unless it was important. The other thing that I ask you about is what's changing with Malika and her diary and why you think that is. And I did tell you as we were reading, she's not writing as Akilma, she's writing as Malika. And so I want you to just think about why that shift has happened and why now. All right, so go over to Google Classroom and answer those first 2 questions, and then join me back here for chapter 20. Thanks guys so much. See you later.